You know the feeling, right? Your favorite app, the one you rely on, is suddenly down. So you rush over to their status page and what do you see? All green. All systems operational, but it's just not working. Today, we're going to tear down that whole frustrating experience and talk about the blueprint for a better way, a way that turns that frustration into actual trust. And this is the exact moment I'm talking about. It's that bizarre, almost gaslighting experience. The page is screaming at you that everything is perfectly fine, but your reality is completely different. You can't log in. You can't get your work done. It is absolutely maddening. Believe it or not, this whole phenomenon has a name. Some people call it the status page lie. It's that massive gap between what the company is reporting and what you, the user, are actually going through. So, what is the deal here? What's really happening behind the scenes? Okay, let's get one thing straight. This usually isn't about some company trying to pull a fast one on you. It's not malicious. It's really a failure of communication. It's this deep, fundamental disconnect between the insane complexity happening inside the company and the simple thing you're trying to do as a customer. And that disconnect, that's a trust killer. So how do we fix this mess? Well, the solution, the entire key, is to map that complicated internal reality to the customer's world. And we do that using a really powerful principle called abstraction. Let's dive into exactly what that means. So, if you could peek behind the curtain of pretty much any modern service, it would be, well, breathtakingly complex. We're talking about a massive web of microservices, databases, APIs, clusters, the whole shebang. And it's all spread out across multiple cloud providers like AWS and GCP. It's a whole universe of moving parts that, honestly, no customer should ever have to think about. And this slide, this is the goal. Because your customers don't care about all that back-end complexity. What do they care about? They care about the simple, understandable things they actually use. Can I log in? Can I make a payment? Is the API working for my integration? Is the website up? That's it. That's their reality. I absolutely love this analogy because it just nails the concept, right? When you go to a restaurant, all you need to know is the kitchen open? Can I get food? You don't need a play-by-play on whether the grill's pilot light is acting up or if the walk-in freezer is a degree too warm. It's all about communicating what actually matters to the customer. Okay, so let's get practical. Let's talk about how you actually design these public components. This is really where the rubber meets the road, translating your complicated internal architecture into something that perfectly mirrors your customer's experience. Now, this is a perfect example of the blueprint in action. Look at the left side. You've got all these technical internal services, auth service, UserDB, AWS Cognito. But on the right, they all get mapped or abstracted to one single thing the customer totally gets, login and accounts. Same thing for payments, same thing for the API. It's about grouping by function, not by technology. All right, so you've done the hard work of mapping your services. You've got these nice, clean, public components. Now what? Well, the next step is actually using this new structure to communicate clearly, especially when things go wrong. Let's look at how to write incident updates that genuinely help people instead of just confusing them more. I mean, just look at the night and day difference here. The bad update on the left is pure technical jargon. What in the world is a gRPC internal auth v3 service to a regular user? It means nothing. But the good update, it speaks their language. It starts by acknowledging their problem, you may be having trouble logging in, and it immediately builds confidence. It's all about communicating the impact on them, not your internal implementation details. So really, a great update just boils down to these 4 simple things. First, you've got to acknowledge the problem they're having. Then, describe how it affects them in plain English, give them a clear status of what's going on, and maybe most importantly, you have to reassure them that you are on it. And all of this brings us to the real point of this whole exercise. We're not just making a better status page. We are building the blueprint for trust. Because, the true value of doing this right goes way, way beyond just technical reporting. If you walk away with one thing today, let it be this. A great status page is not just a fancy server monitor for your engineers to look at. When it's done right, it is one of the most powerful trust-building tools you have in your entire arsenal. It can take a moment of absolute frustration and turn it into an opportunity to prove that you're transparent, you're honest, and you're reliable. So I'll leave you with this final thought, a question to ask about any service you run or even any service you use. Is its status page actively building your trust, or is it slowly, silently breaking it with every all systems operational lie?